started a little rocky. As he mentioned, my struggles didn't come from drug court, sobriety court, probation, parole, whatever you want to call it. For me, that was the easy part. I had structure. I had AA, I had a tether, I had a bank account monitored, I had my whereabouts monitored, obviously, with the tether. Every piece of my life was monitored. It was easy. I couldn't slip up. I didn't want to fail. But as time progressed, I got the hang of it. I loved being sober. I loved everything about it except the weight gain. I took that real personal in the beginning. I was always a real fit guy. But then I actually realized my mark of sobriety was kind of getting fat. So, I mean, as these things kind of come along and you notice your body changing, the way you think, the way you feel, you embrace it. You change the biggest thing that was wrong with any of us. We just had something that lived inside of us that just couldn't say no, or I have to. I've got to have this drug. I've got to go out and party. I've got to have the alcohol. I've got to have the liquor. I've got to smoke weed. Your addiction comes from all different things and shapes and forms. But as I was saying, the structure from my probation was the easy part. Everybody was there. It was super easy. I asked a lot of questions. I wanted to get the sobriety thing. Every second of my day, I had somebody I could call, somebody I could reach out to on many different levels. I had friends, recovery coaches, pastors, old mentors, old baseball coaches. I mean, they were all there. I found that once it was over and you're out of the spotlight, you have nobody there cheering you on every week at drug court or every meeting you make it to. That, for whatever reason, was kind of hard for me because it was almost like, you're a forgotten thing. You know, that's great that you got sober. Cool, you got a few years under your belt. But mentally, you're almost like, shit, I can do whatever I want. There's nobody here to babysit me. There's nobody here to tell me what I can do. Let's go try some weed. Let's go have some beers. You know, I'm off probation. I can do this. I got this. You know, can't tell me nothing. I just did 3 years of drug court. You know, I've got this thing figured out. That part I did. I had some beers when I was released. I thought about smoking some weed, but I had a real dangerous job, and if I got hurt, I would have lost my insurance and all that fun stuff. But the things that I struggled with was, like I said, nobody was there. But that was a choice I made. I didn't totally keep in contact. I didn't relapse. I was very, very lucky that I never fell back into drugs. But when you get out of the spotlight, or, you know, the limelight that I used to call it, you're on your own. You got to remember that these resources, the MAC, the AA, this place down the road, wherever it is that you may be, where you're from, you had a resource. You just did your time, and you made it through. You don't need his, hers, or him's pat on the back to get through it. Pat yourself on the back. That's your biggest accomplishment. You know, like me, it was 20 years of active addiction. I didn't need anybody else's pat on the back. I found myself patting myself on the back because I was proud. I went from sleeping in my truck to not having a home, not having a damn clue what to do with my life. But I had a job, and I had all sorts of support around me. And well, fast forward real quick to 3 years after I had gotten in trouble, bought a house, which was just phenomenal for me. I mean, I lived in my truck. Like, until you've laid across the bench seat of a truck, it sucks. You got a seatbelt poking you in the back. you got no food? I mean, if you can't tell, I'm a big guy and I like to eat. I mean, flat out, I was hungry. I told myself I was never going back. And here in 2 months, I can say in 5 years, I've never gone back. You know, that's a damn good feeling. It is. That's a pat on the back. My life, like I was stating, like it's hard, you know, whether it's work, your relationship, your finances, your personal life, like it's tough. You know, you think when you get sober, everything's perfect. It's not. It's the door opened up to be perfect. Like I thought I needed friends. I thought I needed the validation from drug court, some type of recognition, but it wasn't. It was finding every coping mechanism I was ever taught and handed to me to make it through those difficult times. For instance, since like living what I refer to as like the world's best 3 years of my life, had a baby, got a great job. I mean, I was making more money than I knew what to do with. Had a great place to live. Hadn't bought a truck or anything like that yet, but I had a great life. I landed on my feet with a great job where you can make literally as much money as you want, 7 days a week or however you may spend it. There for a while, I tell some close friends that, you know, when you're getting sober, occupy your time. I should have maybe deciphered that a little bit better because I was chasing, in my head, $100,000 a year. Had to have it. That'd be so cool to have all that money, pay off all my bills and yada, yada, yada. It wasn't. All it did was just break my body down. I mean, beat the shit out of myself. I needed enough money to pay my bills. And in my head, I thought I needed enough money to spoil my fiance, spoil my daughter, fix the house up to make it perfect. I needed to have a $20,000 bathroom instead of a $2,000 bathroom. I lost focus of what happiness was. I was trying to buy my happiness. So we're going to skip a few parts of my little journey and we're going to fast forward it to just 2 months ago. Called off my wedding. Had a beautiful venue paid for. Called the stuff for the honeymoon and so forth. I was driving to work one morning. It was a Saturday morning. And for whatever reason, driving this brand new truck, absolutely nothing wrong with it. All of a sudden my mirror flops to the side and it's staring right at me. I didn't like what I saw. I mean, I didn't. I have a great life. I have nothing to complain about. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with my life. I wasn't happy the way I was living it. I remember a time when I was happy sleeping in a truck, having $20 left over after I paid my bills to go get Burger King and some ramen noodles. So I continued the drive on my way into work, loaded up my toolbox, put it in the back of my truck, drove home with a plan in my head. That is all I had. I had a plan in my head. I said I wanted to find a reason to smile again because I was miserable. I was miserable. Chasing money, never home. I watched my poor daughter walk, talk, and crawl from my office. That sucked. Made me feel like a piece of shit. I wanted to be home more. You know, like I said, I had lost my fiance. I was watching her grow up through my phone. Couldn't have it. Had a plan in my head though. I said, you know what? It's been a long, long time since I bet on myself. I threw a Hail Mary of a job application at a job. It's a shop supervisor working directly with the engineers. where I can use my brain, not so much my back anymore. Before I got home from Grand Rapids, they called me on a Saturday. Like, this is some BS. There ain't no way this place is calling me. They said, hey, can you stop in on Monday? I said, yeah, I'll be there. I don't have anything to do. They don't know that I just quit my job. No idea. So, rolled into this interview. By the grace of God, I nailed it. I mean, I fucking hit this thing out of the park. We'll do a little backstory. My God, this place just, it's not a fancy shop. It's not nothing. It was offering me 40 hours a week, good money. I could be home more in less than 1/3 of the drive I was making back and forth to Grand Rapids. So, we'll fast forward a little bit, landed a second interview. These folks were rather impressed. They kind of wanted to make sure that they weren't seeing into like the headlights or something, so they had AutoCAD sitting out on the computer for me. They had steel sitting out. They wanted to know if I could weld. I thought it was rather weird that if anybody here knows about welding, there's MIG, TIG, and stick. Usually when an employer wants to weld test you, they'll give you, say, a big thick piece of metal and hand you a MIG gun and ask you to weld it. I got handed 3 pieces of metal with 3 different machines, and I was like, all right, well, screw it, let's weld. So I weld, they loved it, pulled up a program on AutoCAD, drew exactly what they had asked. Then I said, do you want it, sent over to the laser? And I go, we'll cut it out and we'll build it. I drew a smiley face with some legs. It was something retarded on AutoCAD, but they wanted to see that I knew how to operate the program. So that was a Wednesday. Got home. I live in Ionia. Belding's not too far away. So we're talking in a matter of 18 minutes. I had gotten a call back from these guys. Mind you, I threw enough money at them for what I said I wanted in order for me to cover what I needed, still tuck away a little bit and live comfortably and still be home all the time. And they called me back and they offered me the job. That following Monday, I started my first day. I had met with a friend in between that Wednesday and a Monday. And, he's like, yeah, it's a good job. I worked there once before, retired. You might still find some of my drawings on some of the prints that you're going to touch. So my first day, I'm digging through prints because I wanted to find my buddy's name on those AutoCAD designs or blueprints or what have you. I find another name that was stuck in there. The gentleman had the last name of Krieger. Anybody's been in the Ionia or Montcalm community, they remember the name Krieger. Found out that Judge Krieger's husband had worked there. So now here's the kicker. My close friend and role model was the engineer. I landed a job where Judge Krieger's husband worked, my close friend and mentor. And you ever have those epiphany moments in your life where you're like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm doing. This is how this is supposed to go. And it was that holy shit moment, My prayers were answered. My hopes were heard. I have a higher power, so I pray. That shit was answered. That was answered in a big, big way. First thing I do is get on the phone with my buddy and said, hey, got it. Nailed it. Got the job. Besides the fact that he was super happy about it, I had never felt like I was more home. One of my mentors, Judge Krieger, was a huge mentor. That woman walked me through some of the hardest times of my life. I mean, she was there. She didn't ever once cut me some slack. Everything that I got, I earned. And that was a great damn feeling. So there I am. landing this great job. Got my life together, got a new truck, rebuilding my house. Something's still off, still to this day. It's not that I'm unhappy being sober. It's not that I need to drink to find happiness. It's not that I need to do drugs to find it. As the days progress, I find out that it's just me. I was struggling with like your own self-worth. I still have it in the back of my head after almost 5 years. I'm a piece of shit. I did drugs. I hurt my mom. I hurt my brothers. I hurt my friends. You know, it's a lot to grasp. The sooner you can grasp it, the better. But like I was telling you in the very beginning of this conversation is probation was easy. I should have, in the very beginning, planned and learned how to live life on life's terms. And that's it. There's no easy way through life, but I found self-worth in myself and absolutely everything that I did. Like I said, this was just 3 weeks ago. You know, I thought I was so in love and my life was over after I lost my fiance. You know, we decided not to get married. There was frost on the ground the other day. That's what cheered me up. I'm a big hunter. I saw that. I rolled over and saw that beautiful creature back there drooling all over my pillow. Super grateful. Didn't give a shit. Brand new sheets. But what I'm getting at is I found a reason to be happy. It reminded me I was happy with my truck. With no food, sitting on E, but I was sober. And everything clicked. I was like, man, family's healthy. We're all doing good. I'm still sober. Got a great job, got a great family, got a great life. What was wrong in all of that from the very beginning to where I'm standing today, I wasn't unhappy with myself. I was ungrateful. Ungrateful to the core.
Say it loud.
You want to talk about missing your blessings. That was a rude awakening. Still gives me chills thinking about it. I'm like, man, again, what a piece of shit, man. How can you not be grateful? I have friends right now that are still running. I mean, just running ragged. They're high as hell, drunker and shit, no job, no purpose. Ain't seen their kids in however long. But it can all change. I lost my kids when I got high all the time. I knew they were better off with their mom because they'd be surrounded by drugs. And the culmination of 4 years of fighting nonstop and getting nowhere. To see my boys, I have 2 boys other than that beautiful thing back there. Next Wednesday, it's the final court case. I was awarded the right to see my kids.
Good for you. Good for you.
That was a damn big pat on the back.
It's a fight worth fighting.
That, I never cared about the money for the attorney. I never cared about it. I had to let those boys know I messed up. But I never gave up on them, not for a second. As a drug addict, I loved them more than anything, but I couldn't be the dad that I needed to be. Now that I am, they're gonna know that their dad damn tried. Everything that I had to give, they're gonna know that dad tried, even if they hate my guts. That's their choice. But they're gonna see who and what I am. And I know I'm a good person. I know the hell I walked through to stand here today. I mean, it wasn't easy. And for anyone that's still, struggling or still trying to find recovery, you'll always have those guys that walk in before you. They have years of sobriety and they have this great life, and I found that intimidating. I had friends that were coming out as I was going in. That sucked. 3 years? Oh wait, it's not 3 years. You signed up for sobriety. That's a lifelong thing. What I'm getting at is nothing in life is easy. But there's a few things that can really change your perspective. That's being grateful for standing on 2 feet having a roof over your head, food in your belly. You can be hungry, but you're not starving. Things can only get so bad. After every storm, the sun comes out. You have friends, you have family. And if you don't have those things, you have people like these two, resources.
Amen.
They are here, and they are here to help. I'll be the first to tell you, I thought they were full of shit. I was getting booked out of jail almost 5 years, well, actually just a hair over 5 years ago. There's this big, bearded, burly dude sitting next to me as I'm withdrawing off heroin. Says, hey, how you doing? Not good. Not good at all, man. He's like, well, it gets better. Me totally blowing him off because I know I just got bailed out and I know I got shit at home I'm about to do. First thing that came to my mind when I got out of jail after getting bonded out was you just don't get it. You don't get it. You just got bonded out of jail, a needle hanging out of your arm, and you're still going back to it. Like, what's it gonna take? I kept thinking I was gonna have this epiphany moment that just one day, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna want to get sober. Not with me. You know, like I said for everybody, this is my story. I never wanted to get sober. Not until I found a reason. I prayed millions of unanswered prayers. No ambition, nothing. You know, one day on Holly Highway, I was driving here. And it clicked. Something inside me said, try it. What do you got to lose? Tried everything else. Hell, you threw it in a spoon, cooked it up, threw it in your arm. Why not try this? Why not try doing nothing? Letting the process happen. And I came here and I was apprehensive about getting sober. There was a lot of things I loved. Girls, friends going out and getting messed up. The lifestyle. I had to have my lifestyle. It was wild. It was extravagant in my brain. And it wasn't. I like going out to eat and I see youngsters, I see kids my age or people my age stumbling in and out of the restaurant. $200 bar tab. Man, what are you thinking? And I don't speak up because what I learned along the way is I didn't get help till I asked for it. When I finally asked for help, I was on Holly Highway driving up to the Mac for, I believe it was a Monday night, like 7 o'clock moonlight meeting. Loved it. Lights were off. You couldn't see my face. I was just another person in the room. There was a couple candles lit. It was peaceful. Got a few meetings under my belt. Got to meet some old timers. I like to think I'm smart. And I knew if they could figure it out, I could figure it out. I started picking their brain. How'd you do it? How'd you do it? How'd you do it? And how'd you do it? I took some of the things that they said, what worked for them. I spun it to make it work for me. Make it fit my recovery, my sobriety. Everybody's different. Everybody's gonna have their own thing to do. And however you can make it work, you can make it work. I could probably talk for 2 days about my story. I'm telling you the gist. But if there's one thing I can offer to you guys, there is hope. I was the worst of the worst. There was nothing good about me. And if you're struggling, reach out. Everybody says that. You can do it in private. Nobody's got to know. Send a text. I did. I was so petty about it, I hid my phone number so my own buddy wouldn't even know who was messaging him. I just said, hey, I'm an old friend of yours. Sobriety worth it? He's like, bro. Still remember this stupid noise he makes when he says that. He says, yeah, man, it is. You just got to give it a chance. key thing in that is you got to give it a chance. It don't work any other way. Don't get sober to have this or that. Don't get sober to get your kids back. Get sober for you. You first. Be selfish in your recovery. Do whatever it takes to get sober. I had to cut off all ties to all friends, even some family, but I did it. I think it's cool standing here with almost 5 years. I know people got 30, 40. That's cool. What's even cooler is knowing somebody made a choice in their life at any given point. They chose to be sober the rest of their life. That's where I'm at, because I didn't get sober until 35. I thought that was horrible. But here I am. I did it. You guys can do it too. Anybody that you know can do it. Lend a hand. Even if you're struggling and somebody still needs help, team up. Say, how can we get this? Where can we go? Find beauty in anything that you do. I remember I loved having a few beers, hang out with a couple of friends, cruise the back roads. My old ass hangs out with a 3-year-old, cruising back roads, watching sunsets. It's peaceful. I'm out in nature. That works for me. Build your own recovery. Because once you build your own, it's yours, and it's going to work for you, no matter what you do. That's all I got, guys. Give it a try.
Thank you, Dan.
I took every ounce of pain, every horrible thing happened in my life or to me. I embraced it. I felt every ounce of that weight because I knew where it could lead. I knew where I could numb that pain. I knew exactly where that liquor store was or that drug dealer. I remembered how happy I was sleeping in my truck with a seatbelt sticking in my back. That gave me peace, and I never wanted to go back. You know, my mom's pretty elderly, but I made her a promise that not she would die one day knowing that I was sober, but I would die one day knowing that I was still sober. So no matter what comes your way, we know we're going to have problems. We know we're going to have heartfelt issues. You're going to lose your girlfriend or fiance. Maybe not, but you might. How are you going to handle it? You got to be ready in the back of your mind to know that you can overcome everything. There's nothing that is thrown at you that you cannot overcome. Physically, mentally, emotionally, or even financially. There's nothing. It's all there. Resources for every single thing. You guys got any questions?
Perfect. Thank you again.
Pleasure.